So come to find out that everything we learned about the lost colony of Roanoke Island growing up is wrong. Let me explain. What we learned is this: that in 1587, the lost colony of Roanoke Island was established by Governor John White, whose granddaughter Virginia Dare was the first English child born in America. And in 1587, John White has to go back to England for supplies. He gets stuck in England for 3 years during the Anglo-Spanish War. He's unable to return to 1590. When he arrives in 1590, he finds a ghost town with nothing, no evidence or anything, except this, the word Croatoan written in all capital letters on a tree. And you're left there. What does this cryptic message mean? Who could have known? And the lost colony myth is spun up in history. Wrong. John White would have known exactly what that word meant for several reasons. First of all, he told the colony when he left in 1587, he said, if you leave, write on a tree where you're going and write a cross if you leave in distress. First thing we notice is there is no cross. The second thing we notice is that they told him exactly where they're going. And he would have known where Croatoan was, because in 1584 and in 1585, the English had finally arrived at the New World. They weren't looking to set up a colony yet. They were looking to set up a military outpost to attack Spanish vessels. And modern-day Hatteras Island fit the bill perfectly. They named it Croatoan because of a Croatoan native tribe on the island. In fact, they took a Croatoan, Manteo, with them to England twice. Manteo was with the lost colony when they arrived on Roanoke Island. And so John White, upon reading the word Croatoan, went sweet. They went to Croatoan Island with Manteo. They're down there. Let's go see them. The thing is that the 1590 expedition had just barely made it to Roanoke to begin with. They had lost guys to drowning trying to cross the inlet to get there, and they were just ready to mutiny. They were ready to get out of there. And so when he said, oh, now we have another stop on our voyage, they went, oh, no, we don't. They argued about it. John White kind of started to get them moving that way, and then a big storm blew them out to sea. And so they said, nope, we're done. We're going back to England. John White dies before he can get another expedition together, and then no further contact is even attempted to be made with the lost colony. In 1607, when the Jamestown colony is established in Virginia, they heard tales. Tales of native people down south with blue eyes who wear European clothing, whose ancestors were white people that could speak out of books. All the common sense evidence is there now. The tree you're hearing about from these natives about this tribe down south, but there's even more. And I just read a book by historian Scott Dawson, who lives on Hatteras Island. The book is called The Lost Colony in Hatteras Island. What was known as Croatoan back then, modern day Hatteras Island. Scott Dawson, Dr. Mark Horton, and other archaeologists have dug all over Hatteras Island. And what they have found is that they have found Croatoan villages with Elizabethan era artifacts in them.